I know you're really more of a writer than an actor, but can you describe what it means when a director tells an actor to play something real broad? All right, so in comedy, there's a spectrum. Okay, so on one side you got broad, and then all the way on the other side is real. Get my hand in there. Real or grounded. So broad is kind of like big or exaggerated. It can be slapsticky. It's larger than life, right? So when Kramer on Seinfeld enters Jerry's apartment and he swings open the door and reacts like he's in the wrong room or whatever, that's broad, because people don't really do that in real life, but it's funny. Another example would be Family Guy. So when Peter Griffith comes home, Lois, hello, and she says, oh, Peter, we're just having our book club. Why don't you stay and join? And he goes, oh, I would love that. And then he cracks his neck and he collapses to the ground and dies. And then in the next scene, he's back to life, like somehow, you know. That's broad, that's big. You wouldn't do that joke, for example, on King of the Hill, which is very real and grounded. I wrote on King of the Hill for 5 seasons. And so the tone of the show is really set by the showrunner. They decide whether it's going to be broad or grounded or somewhere in between. So when I was on Tacoma FD most recently, like season 1, I remember pitching jokes to Kevin and Steve, who were the showrunners, and they go, that's a little too broad. It would get a big laugh, right? But it's too broad. And then they decide what's too broad. So it's my job to figure out where the line is. And often the line was wavy. You know, one thing that might be too broad might be fine if it's in a different, for a different joke. So they decide the tone of the show. And, you know, it's just a matter of taste, really. When I was doing my book, A Paper Orchestra, so it's a collection of true short stories. So because they're true, you can't be broad. I can't be, you know, people would think, well, that didn't happen, right? So it has to lean towards the other side, grounded. But broad can be very funny. So I came up with creative ways to inject broad humor by using various literary devices so that I could get the laugh, but also remain grounded. So here's an example. In the story Fourth and Long, so many people don't know this. It's not obvious, but in college I played college football. Footnote, I was the punter. So, I'm not an athlete, but I could kind of kick a ball. And so I was on the football team, and here's the story Fourth and Long. And one day during practice, the coach calls me, and I'm on the field kicking balls like an idiot. You're in. We need you to play tight end. I'm like, because they were short a player. So, all right, I go into the huddle. I don't know what the hell to do. They tell me to put a block on the linebacker. I'm like, oh my God, I had no idea how to do any of this. All right, so I go in to put the block. The guy swats me away like I'm nothing. And that guy, the linebacker, goes on to make the tackle. I go back to the huddle, and the coach is furious at me. I'll read from my book. Having easily dodged my block, Darnell went on to tackle the running back for a 2-yard loss. When I dusted myself off and returned to the huddle, the coach was furious. I told you to put a hit on him. I was shocked at the coach's reprobation, especially after how hard I tried, and barked back, and I told you I'm not a football player, you fucking idiot. No, I didn't actually say that. What I really said was somewhat less heroic. I'm not proud of this, but I may have apologized for getting my uniform dirty. So I get the big laugh, the broad laugh by calling the coach, an idiot. But then I take it back by saying, no, I didn't say that. So I do that a number of times in the book where I play with various devices. And you'll have to read the book to figure out, so you can see some of them for yourself. But that's broad versus grounded. And if you'd like to see me perform some of these stories, I am performing in Brooklyn, Chicago, and Los Angeles starting in mid-October, in a couple of weeks away. But I better get there. I better get on a plane. And for tickets, go here, michaeljamin.com/tickets, and I hope to see you there. Meet and greet after the show and a book signing.